Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena. MSG is a sentimental venue for the WWE. It's played host to Fed wrestling events for 60 years, since the 1960s. As such, WWE makes a big to-do whenever they return to their historical home, which they did last night. Not only that, we're only 2 weeks away from WrestleMania, and half the card still hasn't been booked. So, WWE had every reason to pull out all the stops to make this episode of Raw one for the ages. Did they succeed? Let's walk through it and find out. But first, please subscribe. I make wrestling video content. If you want more of that, please like and subscribe and stuff. Okay, thanks. The show opened with WWE Champion Cody Rhodes. He's supposed to be on SmackDown, but you know, he's WWE Champion. There's a lot of history.
World's most famous arena, the home of the WWE Championship, a place where the WWE Champion will always be present. Madison Square Garden, New York City.
What he said. And gosh, isn't Cody just at his best when he gets to tap into 20th century wrestling history? So much fire, so much passion. Maybe he can start this show on the right note. Wait, is that girl boss music in the distance? Oh no. Stephanie McMahon comes out to confront Cody Rhodes. Steph isn't a common presence on TV these days, but I speak for everyone who's watched WWE in the past 3 decades when I say we don't need to see any McMahon or Helmsley open Monday Night Raw ever again. But okay, Stephanie's here, her family's been involved with MSG for generations. Fine. Maybe she has something interesting to say about Cody's WrestleMania main event, which is 2 weeks away, BTW. Well, Stephanie's here to inform Cody that his WrestleMania opponent, Randy Orton, can be a pretty bad dude. Like, this dude can be pretty twisted, so you've got to keep that in mind, Cody Rhodes. And like, yeah, Cody was there for most of that. Cody was literally there for the most heinous thing Randy did to Stephanie specifically. I'm not sure she can provide much insight to the twisted mind of Randy Orton that Cody wouldn't already have. The promo putters along off this flawed premise and builds to its climax, a reference to disgraced former CEO Vince McMahon. Cool. So, I think it's pretty gross to invoke the idea of a man currently being sued for sexual assault, sex trafficking, and emotional abuse against a former employee. I think it's bad that WWE will keep making these winks and nods until they decide it's okay to put Vince on TV again. It's deplorable how that day will come independently and irregardless of any sentence in the legal case currently against him. Vince McMahon should probably be in jail for half the shit he did on TV, let alone what he was allegedly getting up to behind the scenes. But even if you put all that to one side, why is this what the WWE Champion is doing 2 weeks out from WrestleMania? Why are we taking focus away from an already thin storyline in favor of a bunch of non-wrestling characters? This is one of your last chances to sell the skeptics on a marquee match for your biggest show, and you're wasting it on the vague promise of a corpse? This was a horrible opener, no matter how you look at it. Made no better by Cody thanking Stephanie for the whole ordeal. It also wasn't helped by Michael Cole calling it some awesome tough love by Stephanie McMahon. Whatever. Hopefully the first match puts me in a better mood. We open proper with the Raw Men's Tag Team Division. My favorite. To be fair, this match was broadly fine. The Usos have a knack for WWE hardcore matches. The secret is to swing really fucking hard. The match ended with the Usos losing their tag belts, capping off their 3-month reign with their second televised defense. More specifically, the match ended with IShowSpeed. Okay, let me just... So, famed internet streamer IShowSpeed was on the show last week, befriending luchadors and such. Then, local gremlin Danhausen demanded $1 billion. Speed said no, so Danhausen cursed him with general misfortune. Speed's back this week to get the curse removed, but then he was ushered out to watch this match, presumably as part of the curse's punishment. This led to Speed accidentally helping the Vision win the tag belts. Not exactly an inspiring interesting direction for the tag division, but in a vacuum, this is a fun little storyline. Hapless babyface is cursed into accidentally helping and befriending heels. It's silly. It's fun. I just wish it was being given to a performer who will be on the show longer than 2 more weeks at most. You know, this is some bullshit that the Hurricane would get up to. You should be using these ideas to make your regular characters more memorable, not just so you can put your best foot forward when leeching off a guest star. And yes, Danhausen is getting some good out of this, but, and hear me out now, we could be putting over 2 wrestlers. Just a thought. Might be more economical, storytelling-wise. Lin-Manuel Miranda is here. I am genuinely curious to know what he thought about this show. Liv Morgan cut a promo next. It was fine. Liv's a solid promo, but the psychology of the whole segment was entirely off. So, Liv dresses down Stephanie Vaquer, doing heel stuff, yada yada, but then Liv mentions she's from New Jersey, and where she's from, it's on site. First off, don't say that, white baby. Second, this is a hometown babyface line. It kind of undercuts all the heel stuff she was doing 2 seconds ago. Then Vaquer comes out, dressed in all black, which gives her kind of a heelish look, but she's the babyface champion, and then Roxanne Perez attacks Vaquer. But that's a surprise return for Roxanne, so it's exciting. But she attacks Vaquer from behind, and she is a heel anyway, but she's aligned with Liv, who just did this fake babyface stuff, so literally who is supposed to be who in this segment? The crowd had no idea how to react, and that's not their fault. This whole thing was deeply confused. If there's one thing WWE does well, typically, it's simplicity. Say what you like, but generally, it's very obvious who you're supposed to cheer for and who you're supposed to boo. And that makes it really noticeable when they screw up the face-heel dynamic, which they have here. This segment snatched defeat from the jaws of competency. Next was Bayley and Lyra versus the Irresistible Forces for the Women's Tag Team Championship. This match was pretty good. Bayley and Lyra played off their opponents very well. I think these 2 teams could pull off a pretty damn good WrestleMania match with each other. Alas, this one ended in a DQ when the other 2 women's tag teams came to the ring. Not ideal, but I get it. This is setting up for a 4-way tag at Mania, which was made official shortly after. That match should be pretty solid. It is a shame that after the women's tag division had so much momentum, WWE are falling back on their old habit of, oh, there are a bunch of women we don't have plans for. Put them in a big tag match at Mania. But again, I liked this match, so whatever. Next was a Brock segment. Let's just speed through it. Paul Heyman's on promo duty. Brock is here to fight. Oba is also here to fight. Some security goes, no, don't do that. They are tossed. Adam Pearce says, no, don't do that. He is tossed. But then Triple H says, no, don't do that. And so the big boys listen to Daddy, because if they toss him, his heart will explode. Obviously, I have similar objections to Brock being on the show as I do to Vince being mentioned, but again, beyond that, this was just an oddly flat segment. Like, I get it, save the physicality for WrestleMania, but that doesn't really work when Brock and Oba have gotten physical for the past 2 weeks. It comes off as a de-escalation of the feud. Why are we doing this now instead of 2 weeks ago? Heel heat? For who? Triple H? I don't think that guy needs much help being disliked by wrestling fans, or even WWE fans. Another confusing segment that did nothing good for the WrestleMania feud it's associated with. Complete time waster. Should have been replaced with a match between literally anyone. Next was Penta versus Kofi Kingston for the Intercontinental Championship. This was a good match. Probably the best thing on the entire show. Both guys are great. I'll always be a Kofi Kingston fan, so it was nice to see him get a good performance in MSG. Penta retained with no interference and set up a multi-man ladder match at WrestleMania. Cool. I am excited to see this mid-card fustercluck. Not much more to say than that. This was a solid 15 minutes of wrestling TV. Kind of lends credence to the idea that you can take 2 wrestlers, have them wrestle, and you'll get some pretty good wrestling TV. Anyway, the next segment is a second Paul Heyman promo. I sure do hope this paying wrestling crowd in one of the most historic wrestling arenas in the country is excited for a second Paul Heyman promo. I know I am. Paul Heyman talks about Seth Rollins. Adam Pearce talks about Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is here. Gunther is here. He attacks Seth Rollins. They will be having a WrestleMania match because End of statement. Geez, this storytelling company sure is having trouble telling stories. I kid, but I'm fine with this match and even how it's being made. Gunther and Seth both had planned opponents that were scrapped due to injury. You don't want to keep them off the card, so you can put these two stars against each other and it'll be pretty good. Again, sometimes you can just have a match because it is big and exciting without some big overarching plot reason. Whatever story there is built in will be told by the wrestling match. This is how wrestling has worked literally forever. It's fine. Our main event match is Io Sky versus Raquel Rodriguez. We didn't want to close on any of the 3 title matches? No? Well, close the wrestling portion of the evening, because of course the show goes off air with a promo segment. In fact, let's talk about this show's pacing. This is our 4th and final match on a 2.5-hour show. A show that has been stuffed to the gills with promos and commercials. Here's a novel concept. If your average viewer feels somehow compelled to watch a wrestling show, it may be because they'd like to see some wrestling. So maybe we could have replaced one of those Paul Heyman promos with a match? Perhaps between 2 of the 24 exciting and capable wrestlers you employ. Sorry, independently contract. No? We need more aura? The aura farm's looking awfully dry these days, but if you say so. As for the match itself, it was broadly fine. I'm not sure I agree with Io losing to our 3rd interference of the night, mind you. It feels like Io's been completely cooled off after her very hot tag run, and this loss doesn't help alleviate that feeling. I get it, we're building some kind of Io, Asuka, Kairi program, but still. As for Raquel, for as much as she's improved in ring, it's never quite translated into proper heat or fan investment. I honestly don't know why that is or how we can fix it. I think the problem is that WWE keeps trying to do Diesel, forgetting that Diesel didn't even work the first time. So maybe stop that. But now it's time for the main event. CM Punk, Roman Reigns, under the same roof for the 3rd week in a row for the first time. I mean, when's the last time Roman came into work this often? It must be WrestleMania season. So, what do they do in this segment? They talk, they fight, someone goes through the announce table. Literally the exact same thing they did last week. Oh, but this time, Punk put Roman through the announce table. Whoa. This segment, this closer to the show, was nothing short of fucking shameful. You're in the most significant venue in your company's history. You're 2 weeks away from WrestleMania, and you have nothing new or interesting for your main event feud, and you still decide to close the show with it? I sat through my 12th DoorDash ad of the night for a palette swap of the shit I saw last week. This was awful. I have nothing more to say. Overall, you could squint and trick yourself into seeing an exciting episode of TV here. 3 title matches, a few surprise cameos. Neat. But only one of the title matches ended clean. The cameos served to take focus away from the wrestlers and storylines. Outside of that, this has all the same issues as any Raw episode. Too much talking, too many ads, too little wrestling. Outside of the first hour, it felt like they weren't even trying to make this episode feel significant or exciting. I liked the women's tag and Intercontinental title matches, but that's the only compliment I can pay this show. The Magic of the Garden couldn't save Monday Night Raw. It's a fundamentally broken show. Did you have fun? Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments. I have seen 1 billion DoorDash ad, and I am tired. If you want a lighter, more positive video, check out my most recent, where I made Pokemon teams for wrestlers. It was cute, it was fun, and it was also my 1,000 subscriber special. Thanks for that, by the way. You should subscribe if you haven't, by the way. If you want more critique, my video on the tag division's pretty good as well. Okay, that's all. I still don't have an outro. Okay, thanks. Bye.